Oh hi, thanks for watching my video. So every now and then I like to make videos where I just talk about stuff. You know, it's not all woohooing and drug dealing and inbreeding for a laugh. In The Sims, of course. Because sometimes I like to just give my opinion on things when nobody asked for it. I only started paying attention to YouTube a couple of years ago, which is around the time I discovered Sims YouTubers and thought, oh, that looks fun. And it was the first time I'd seen other people give their take and their analysis on a game that I had loved for so many years. And when it comes to The Sims 4, people had a lot of things to say. I kind of assumed that this was probably the case for every Sims game, you know? People have probably been moaning about things from the beginning. And while that is partly true, there does seem to be more flack aimed at The Sims 4 than the earlier games, and it kind of got me thinking, what makes The Sims 4 so different? So today we are going to be talking about a few aspects of the strategy behind The Sims 4, how it was different to the other games, and why that matters when it comes to how Simmers feel about this game. Before I start, I just want to acknowledge that I am by no means a Sims expert. I have played all of the games over the years and have a fairly good wealth of knowledge when it comes to The Sims, but if I miss something, please do feel free to let me know in the comments. This video is more to spark a discussion rather than to just have a moan. So, what aspects of The Sims 4 are different to all the other games? Well, let's start with timeline. The Sims 4 was the first game in the main franchise to not follow any particular timeline. When we got The Sims 1, it was just as it was, no timeline to follow on from. But with The Sims 2, we learned quickly into gameplay that this game was set 25 years after The Sims 1. And then we had The Sims 3, which was set 25 years before The Sims 1, and so 50 years before The Sims 2. We know this because it's reflected in the neighbourhood stories, and of course the main characters in each game are of an age and a point in their lives that reflect the timeline. The Sims 4 was the only game that had some of the already established characters, but with no timeline, and so subsequently no follow-on from the storytelling aspect of the previous games. Some Simmers probably didn't even notice the difference and probably didn't care much, but others that had been following along with the storylines and recognised the difference in timeline were left quite disappointed with the lack of follow-on in The Sims 4. No spin-off. The Sims 4 is the first game to not have some kind of spin-off. And when I say spin-off, I mean an actually different game entirely based off of the main game in the franchise at that time. So I'm not talking about the same game that was released for other platforms like console or Nintendo DS. The spin-off game for The Sims 1 was The Sims Bustin' Out. You could also say Herbs, but they did look completely different. The spin-off game for The Sims 2 was The Sims 2 Stories, The Sims 2 Pet Stories, and The Sims 2 Castaway. And The Sims 3 had The Sims Medieval. And so far, The Sims 4 has had no spin-off. At this late stage in the game, I think it would be safe to assume that a spin-off for this game isn't coming. I personally haven't seen many people have much of an opinion on the lack of spin-off for The Sims 4, but I have heard quite a lot that the game is getting stale. The Sims 4 definitely has its problems, and a spin-off game wouldn't solve that, but given that it's already been out for 8 years this year, I do think a spin-off could have been a good filler for Simmers to enjoy fresh gameplay over that time. Of course, there's nothing stopping us from playing the older games. Retired content. Full disclosure, this is my opinion based on how the pattern of released DLC has been, so it hasn't officially been confirmed that stuff packs have been retired, but the last stuff pack we had was in January of 2021, and since then there have been no announcements of any future stuff packs. Up until Paranormal Stuff in 2021, we had an average of 3 stuff packs a year. Since January of 2021, we've had 1 expansion, 2 game packs, and 9 kits, which we will talk about a bit more in a minute. Looking at the drastic decline of stuff packs that have been released in recent years, and considering that we have had other DLC since then, I can't help but conclude that stuff packs are a thing of the past and have pretty much been replaced entirely by kits. The Sims 1 had just one type of add-on to the game, expansion packs. The Sims 2 had expansions and also stuff packs, as did The Sims 3, plus The Sims 3 had individual items on the online store. The Sims 4 is the first game to just stop releasing a type of pack without really acknowledging it or letting the community know that it's been retired. The lack of stuff packs isn't really something that I could see had upset the community, but there was some negative feedback about their replacement. Reality show. To my knowledge, The Sims 4 was the first game to have a reality TV show based off it. There was actually a live-action movie or series that was in the pipeline for The Sims 1 back in the day, but it never amounted to anything, so The Sims 4 was the first game to be the focus of a show. The reality series was called Sparked, and it was a competition based on storytelling, building, and create a sim challenges. The show aired in 2020 and was filmed before the pandemic. There were competitions on the Sims 4 website related to the show, but there hasn't really been any news since 2020, so whether there will ever be a season 2 is yet to be confirmed. Sparked received mixed reviews on the Sims forums. I generally liked it. It was nice to see some familiar faces working together to complete the Sims challenges. Less obtainable brands. Let's quickly touch on collaborations. Collaborations with celebrities or brands are nothing new to The Sims, but with The Sims 4, the type of collaborations they worked with seemed significantly less obtainable to a lot of players than the older collabs were. Celebrities have been involved with promoting the Sims franchise since The Sims 1, but for this part of the video we are just going to be talking about brands. So the first pack that was a brand collaboration was in The Sims 2. They had two brand collabs in fact. They had H&M stuff and IKEA stuff. Both pretty well known and they're pretty affordable to a lot of Sims players. The Sims 3 had a few packs released from a collaboration with Katy Perry, but the only retail brand they collaborated with was Diesel Stuff, a brand that is considerably less obtainable than the collaborations in The Sims 2, so maybe this was the starting point. But the amount of unobtainable collabs were amped up in The Sims 4. There was a stuff pack collab called Moschino Stuff and a kit collab called Modern Menswear. Moschino is a clothing brand that is significantly less obtainable than the previous collabs. For example, I had a browse through the Diesel website and found that a dress from there was retailing at an average of around $350. The majority of Moschino dresses, however, were retailed at over $1,000, so quite a leap from Diesel Stuff. The Modern Menswear Kit was another collab with fashion designer Stefan Cook. This is another brand that I would consider to be unobtainable to most people. I wasn't able to find clothing pieces, but I saw that it would set you back $275 for a button strap. When it comes to The Sims 4, there have been new things that have been introduced, and there have been several things that were missing. In terms of the missing things, I'm not going to dwell on this too much because I do have a video where I mention everything that was missing from The Sims 4 that was included in earlier games. You know, like pools, toddlers, burglars, we all know at this point. But if you want to know more about specifically what was missing from The Sims 4, then I'll leave a link in the video description and in the white box at the top of the screen now for my other video that highlights how The Sims 4 base game has changed. What I really wanted to know was what your opinion is on the things that are unique to The Sims 4, and by that I mean the new types of content, mainly kits and scenarios. As most of us know, kits are bite-sized packs that have a small amount of content for half the price of stuff packs. I'm not really sure how I feel about them. It really just depends on the kit. I was quite impressed with the Courtyard Oasis and the plant-themed one because they had quite a lot of content, more than half of what you'd get in a stuff pack anyway. The Busted Dust kit does have an impact on gameplay, however it gets a bit annoying for me sometimes, mainly because the bloody maid doesn't recognise dust as something that needs to be cleaned. Do you like kits? Which is your favourite? The part that was most confusing to me about all this was that The Sims 4 had been going for like 6 years before these things were introduced, and then once they were, we were just given one kit after another, one scenario after another, and it just seems like a last-minute change of strategy. I just wanted to spark conversation on the topic and see what you guys think. Based on the feedback I've seen from the community, it does look to me like The Sims 4 is the most unpopular game, and that's one of the reasons why I made this video. I wanted to just look at what The Sims 4 did differently, and did those things contribute towards its reputation? I definitely think they played a part, some more than others, but I'd love to know what you think about this. Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe, you know I love it when you do that, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!